Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is David Nates, and today I'm going to speak about the subject of how to build empathy. Being in an informational age means that the virtual workspace is ever growing, and with that, in some ways, it's brought people closer than ever. It's a sort of paradox though, because we're more united in the virtual world where basically you can chat or even video call someone pretty much anywhere in the world. But at the same time, we have never been so distant from actual human contact because of the ease of doing everything without leaving the comfort of your own home. At the same time, in this day and age of technology, the more we communicate virtually, the less personally connected we become with one another. What's funny is that scientifically speaking, for a long time, science assumed the fact that basically humans were simply self-centered creatures that had to learn to get along with one another to survive. But the more research was done on our ancestors, the more we realized that, like our primitive ancestors, we are social creatures that have actually evolved to take care of one another. It's kind of crazy that we think of the world as actually caring for one another, since we see so many people suffering around us through the world, yet the more developed countries keep on living as if less wealthy places didn't exist. Actually, even the most developed of countries will live in conjunction with homeless people or people simply struggling or suffering. Yet at the core, humans need that interaction. And if we aren't able to take care of one another, not just as a society, but as a world, pretty soon we might actually end up eradicating one another. This is why, as humans, we need to understand what empathy is. Empathy means to have the ability to see the world through the eyes of another. Kind of like the quote, "Never judge a man without walking a mile in his shoes." It's by being able to feel for others and genuinely wanting to help that we can better our world. A highly empathetic person will sense the emotions of the people around them. Sometimes it's a double-edged sword because it's nice to have this intuition, but it can also be overwhelming to have this hypersensitivity because you end up feeling so much that it can get overwhelming. Many psychologists believe that empathy is mostly learned throughout childhood. After all, children are like sponges and their brain is still developing to this world. Because of that, whatever is needed for them in order to do better in life is simply absorbed. But even as an adult, it's possible to increase our ability to have empathy for others. It just takes a bit more work. But as mentioned, we are social creatures, and in order to really succeed in this world, we need to be able to forge proper relationships and bonds with one another. In some ways, it's even more important to our survival as humankind than we can ever imagine. It's simple, really. If we're just selfish and care about oneself, then we would never be able to give love to someone else, reproduce, create families, and even do good to Mother Nature. We're doing a lot of bad things to this earth, and we just take it for granted sometimes. But it's still not too late to give back to this world and not just make us successful in our career and life, but also successful for all the future generations. Here are a few tips that will help you to increase your empathy. Number 1, actively start listening to people. Most people have a tendency to think more about what they want to answer than actively listening to people when they speak. The reason people do that is because they might be nervous or simply because we might be too self-absorbed in ourselves. Showing empathy towards other people means to genuinely care for others. This actually works in our favor because if someone actively listens to somebody else, they actually do not have to do much of the talking. They just need to be able to ask a further question about a topic that the other person is speaking about. Also, by shifting the conversation toward the other person, you are showing interest in whatever they are speaking about. A great advantage about this way of listening is that you will actually gain more knowledge about that said subject. It's difficult to actively listen at first, but people who are good with this tend to find people drawn to them and actually opening up to them more. Number 2, challenge yourself to meet new people. Throughout history, humankind has been through eras of huge racism, colonization, wars, and so many evil things. The world as a whole is filled with prejudice and stereotypes for people who don't look like us or simply don't live the way that we do. But why do we actually look at the world in this way? No matter how different we look, what language we speak, what religion we believe in, if you really start speaking to other people or looking at them, all over the world, everyone eats, loves, hates, laughs, cries, goes to the toilet, is born, and eventually dies. We are so similar in so many aspects, yet we create these huge barriers between us. For example, in Europe, where I was raised, it's super easy to go with a train, bus, or car from one country to another in a very short period of time. So people end up being exposed to many different cultures, whereas in places such as Los Angeles, where I'm living at the current moment, I found that people didn't have much experience with other cultures. Yes, we see many ethnicities around us, but it seems like everyone sticks pretty much with their circle of people. Also, it doesn't help that people are closed up in their cars. But more so, the biggest hurdle to experience other countries in Northern America is that we are secluded from the rest of the world and most people here only speak English. In order to actually see big cultural differences, somebody would actually have to take an expensive plane and go to another continent. Plus, they have the barrier of not being able to speak the country's language. Because of all of these reasons, people don't often have the curiosity to get out of their comfort zone and actually interact with people completely different than them. But in the spirit of understanding true empathy, I feel that everyone should make the effort to find people who are completely different than us and actually try to understand why they think or live the way that they do. By truly interacting with people different than us, we can actually find so much more appreciation, love, and understanding for one another. Number 3, share your thoughts with others. We do live in an era of fast information where most people cannot give much attention to other people because they're immediately distracted by whatever is happening around them. Especially in big cities such as Los Angeles, where there are always bigger opportunities to be gained at every corner, it's extremely difficult to grab someone's attention. But even so, with our limited attention span, it's not just important to really listen to what people are communicating to us, but also to be able to show some sort of vulnerability and capability to share one's feelings with others. Many chit-chat conversations are related to pop culture, daily activities, the weather. Usually it's whatever people refer to as superficial subjects. I'm not saying to bare one's soul to every person that you encounter. I'm more encouraging the importance of sharing one's joys, fears, and aspirations. By opening up to others, you actually allow the other person to be willing to share more of themselves and allowing for deeper conversations. People are often looking for humanity in others, but have huge barriers around them. To top it off, everyone seems to have these facades that they show on Instagram, television, or whatever social media platform of their choice. But no matter how perfect one's life seems in pictures and videos, I can guarantee that nobody is perfect. And even the happiest and most successful person has ups and downs. Throughout life, people will only encounter a finite amount of people that actually really care for them. This is why it's important to be able to be open and open up to others and be genuine, because even if these people are extremely rare to encounter, if someone has walls around them all the time, they're closing themselves from actually letting these wonderful people in their lives. In the end, no matter how open you are to speaking to other people and cultures, you won't necessarily be able to relate to every single experience and every person you encounter. To truly empathize, one needs to form some sort of connection and understanding. This is where imagination comes into play. It'll permit us to imagine how that person feels. Just remember that empathy, like all things in life, takes a lot of practice. Don't expect it to feel natural straight off the bat. If you generally have an interest to learn how to have empathy, keep at it, and eventually you will become good at it. As per usual, please be sure to subscribe and smash the like button. Leave me a comment too, and let me know some of your experiences empathizing with other people. If there's a particular subject that you'd like me to tackle, do let me know. I'm pretty sure I can make that happen. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.